Welcome, listener, in the shadows. We bring stories into the light. Join me as we explore the encounters no one speaks of and the things that watch from the dark. Before we dive into tonight's terrifying tale, a quick question. Do you dare wear the fear? Our exclusive Shadows merch is here. Hoodies, tees, and more, designed for those who embrace the darkness. Get yours before they vanish forever. Link below. The Alder Station transmissions. Day 1, the package. You ever hear a sound so strange, so wrong, that it made your teeth hurt? That's how this story starts. With a sound I couldn't explain, and a package I didn't ask for. I'm Noah Bryers, host, editor, and one-man band behind the Threshold podcast, a show that lives at the intersection of myth and surveillance, where urban legends intersect with the truth, where the static means something. I've interviewed men who swore they survived MKUltra. I've talked to families of the disappeared near Montauk. And I've sat through grainy videos with audio I couldn't scrub. But nothing prepared me for what arrived on my doorstep one rainy Tuesday. No name, no return address, just a padded manila envelope, slightly damp, buzzing softly in my hand. Inside, a battered black minicassette recorder, one unlabeled tape already inserted, and a scrap of paper typed in courier font. It's still TINSMITTING. GO to Alder Station. Bring no one. That was it. I hadn't heard that name in years. Alder Station. It was the kind of Cold War relic that lived in the margins of conspiracy forums. An acoustic research facility in the deep woods of Oregon, supposedly used to test how sound could alter mood, behavior, even thought patterns. Whispers of Project Harmony, pulse induction fields, and an unverified experiment called Signal Echo. All classified, all scrubbed. Officially, Alder Station burned down in '79. Unofficially, it just stopped being mentioned. The moment I read those words, I knew I was going, not for the show, for me. I hit play on the recorder. The tape clicked, then silence, followed by the hum, low, warped, oscillating, like a pulse beneath the floorboards of the world. Then a voice, barely audible, half buried beneath static. We made it listen, but it started talking back. I paused the tape, played it again. The voice didn't repeat, it changed, said something different this time. A different sentence, same voice. It's not the station anymore, it's the transmitter. I played it a third time. The voice was mine. I spent the night combing my archives, notes, old message boards, dead links. Everything I could find on Alder Station had been scrubbed harder than a politician's browser history. But in an archived forum dated 2004, user I0N33 had posted GPS coordinates and the phrase, "Loudest silence you'll ever hear." The coordinates matched a forest clearing near the Cascades. No roads, no trails, just trees. I packed 2 bags, my recorder, a field mic, a week's worth of rations, and the tape. There's something in that sound, a shape inside the noise. I don't know how to describe it. It's like looking through a kaleidoscope made of voices. Tomorrow I leave for Oregon. They said bring no one. I don't think I could bring anyone even if I wanted to. Not because I'm afraid for them, because whatever this is, it only wants me. Day 2, arrival at Alder. The road stops 4 miles before the station. After that, it's just trees. And the hum, I've never heard silence this loud. Transcript, field notes, subject. Arrival at site Alder Station, unverified date. October 14 time. 7:26 p.m. The forest swallows sound. That's the first thing I noticed once I stepped off the logging road and onto the path laid out in the GPS data. It wasn't just quiet, it was void. No birds, no insects. Even my boots didn't crunch the ground like they should have. It felt like walking through soundproof snow. Alder Station is buried deeper than any map suggests. The trees grow too close, too symmetrical, like they were planted, not sprouted. The trunks stretch skyward in perfect lines, and I swear the shadows lean inward, like they're listening. By the time I reached the clearing, my compass had spun itself stupid. North didn't exist anymore, only forward, and then I saw it. The structure was supposed to be a ruin. Instead, I found something alive. Imagine this, a low, brutalist building, half buried in moss and earth. its satellite dish long rusted and bent like it had tried to turn away from something. There were no windows, no exterior lights, just a door of old military steel, slightly ajar like it had been waiting. Scorched into the wall beside it. 13.3 HZ entry only, that's the frequency of theta brainwaves. Dream state territory. I stepped inside. The air was cold, not temperature cold, frequency cold. Like the molecules were vibrating at a register I wasn't meant to hear. Every breath felt monitored. The walls were lined with acoustic foam, warped and sagging with moisture. Every surface bore residue, like dried honey mixed with ash. And all along the corridor, reel-to-reel machines still spinning, powered by a source I couldn't trace. No lights, no electricity, but something was alive in here. The main broadcast chamber sat in the center, a circular room with concentric chairs facing inward, not out. In the middle, a podium wired to a helmet-shaped rig, flanked by black boxes pulsing faintly. "Mind receiver," I muttered aloud, and the moment I said it, the rig twitched. I didn't imagine it. It reacted to language. I set up my recorder, placed it on the console, and started rolling. But as I spoke, introducing myself, my mission, the discovery, the mic began feeding back before I finished a sentence. Then I heard it, not through my ears, through the walls. "Hello, Noah," not a voice. An echo, timed perfectly to my heartbeat. The building knew my name. I haven't uploaded anything yet. I don't trust the data. Every time I try to play it back, it distorts, shifts. The recorder reads files I never made. One of them was labeled, Day 6, Acceptance, I've only just arrived. If you're listening to this, don't assume I'm still me. Something's in here with me, not a ghost, not a machine, something transmitted, and it's looking for signal. Day 3, sound as a weapon. There is no echo, only what you bring with you. Sound is a mirror. And this place wants you to hear yourself die. Field notes, October 15 time. Unknown, I don't know how long I slept. There's no sunrise here, no clocks. The station breathes in frequencies, not hours. My watch stopped ticking sometime after midnight, and when I turned on my recorder this morning, it had 12 new files, all time-stamped for tomorrow. None of them were mine, but they were my voice. Each file began the same way. Subject has begun to integrate. Resistance degrading. Prepare for auditory bleed. I didn't say those words, but the tone, the inflection, was undeniably me. And that's when I realized the station isn't haunted. It isn't abandoned. It's a loop, a broadcast stuck on repeat, and I've become part of its programming. The sound room, I found a second chamber today. It looked like an anechoic chamber at first. Foam pyramids on every surface, a seat bolted to the center of the floor. But the seat had restraints, and a speaker system that didn't broadcast outward, but inward, directly into the skull of the occupant. Dried blood on the leather straps, bite marks on the armrests, a note etched into the wall with a key or maybe a fingernail. What you hear is what you become. I turned the system on. I wish I hadn't. The sound wasn't noise. It was language that didn't belong in a human mouth, not speech, intention. Like a memory whispered by a god who never cared if you understood. At first I heard static, then laughter. Mine, but warped, infantile. A memory I had no right to recall. I shut the system off, ripped the cables from the wall. The room didn't change. The sound didn't stop, because it was inside me now. The door that wasn't there yesterday, at the far end of the lower hallway, past the rusted lockers, the mold-eaten file cabinets, I found a door that hadn't been there the day before. It was smooth, seamless, not a door at all, just the idea of one. Behind it, a pulsing tone, 13.3 HZ, the same frequency carved on the wall outside. I followed it, like a mosquito to the hum of blood. When I pressed my hand against the wall, it opened, not physically, not in the architectural sense. I felt something open in me. Behind the threshold, a chamber filled with chairs, dozens of them, all facing one screen. Each chair bore restraints. On the floor, headphones, cables, cassette decks. Some tapes were still warm, as if recently played. One screen, one frame, a live feed of me, sleeping, here, now, except I wasn't alone in the footage. Behind me, something moved. Not a person, not a shape, just displacement. like a figure shaped out of negative sound. I turned to check the room in real time. Nothing. But when I looked back at the monitor, it was closer. The station listens. And when it understands you, it will speak you back. I don't know what this place was built for, but I'm starting to think it wasn't meant to send signals. It was meant to receive something. And now it's receiving me. Day 4, the mirror signal. I used to think mirrors were lies, a trick of light, a surface pretending to know you. But this place has shown me the truth. Mirrors don't reflect you, they summon you. And I'm not the only one who answered. Field notes, October 16 time. 3:33 a.m., maybe. There are no real nights at Alder Station, just darker shades of humming. Sleep is not sleep here, just long blinks where your thoughts leak into the walls and return as new architecture. Yesterday I tried drawing a floor plan. Today none of it matched. The station is growing, or remembering itself, or maybe both. And every time I blink, a new hallway appears. The observation deck this morning. I found a stairwell behind the old broadcast office. It wasn't there yesterday. The walls were lined with copper mesh, and everything smelled like ozone and sweat. The stairs ended in a steel door marked only with a single glyph, an eye split vertically. Inside, a domed chamber, 12 screens, 12 chairs, and a massive one-way mirror that spanned the length of the far wall. Except it wasn't a mirror, not entirely. It showed the corridor outside, but also not outside. The hallway it reflected was similar, but the light was wrong. Dimmer, redder. The shadows moved independently of their sources, and where I should have seen myself standing in the room, I saw someone else. They looked like me, same clothes, same wounds, same posture, but their movements were a fraction out of sync. A moment later, they turned toward the mirror and smiled. I didn't. Echoes in flesh. I found blood in my ear this afternoon. No injury, no pain, just a slow, wet trickle down my neck. When I checked the recorder from last night, I heard it. 13 seconds of whispered numbers, binary, then coordinates, then a phrase repeated 3 times. He wears your face. He wears your face. He wears your face. I haven't spoken to anyone in days, but today I heard my own voice, outside the room, calling for me. The film vault tucked behind the observation deck was a vault, lead-lined, sealed with a keypad and fingerprint scanner, long corroded by time and salt. The vault should have been impossible to open, but the door opened when I touched it. Inside, a stack of old canisters, film reels, some labeled test subject 4A, others just numbered. Most of the footage was degraded, but one spool played clean, pristine. The tape showed the inside of a room, this room, from a decade ago, maybe more. A man sat in the chair where I now sat. He looked like me. He screamed for 5 minutes straight without drawing breath. And then he laughed. And then he whispered, "Welcome back, Noah." The signal in the glass. It wasn't until nightfall, or whatever passes for it here, that I understood what the mirror really did. It wasn't showing an alternate version of the station. It was showing a version of me that never left. A version that stayed behind, that became something else. The signal isn't just a sound. It's a command, a suggestion. And mirrors reflect suggestion far better than they reflect truth. I stayed too long in that room. Now the reflection is starting to move before I do. Final 30 seconds of today's log. Noah. If I forget who I am, play this back. I am Noah Bryers. I came to Alder Station to uncover a forgotten signal, and now I am part of it. Pause, and if you're hearing this, then you are too. Day 5, room 0. We all leave breadcrumbs. But what happens when the trail loops? When you follow it all the way back, and you find yourself waiting at the end of it? Welcome to room 0. Or maybe welcome back. Field notes, October 17 time. 00:00 exactly. I haven't eaten in 2 days, but I'm not hungry. My body doesn't ache. My throat doesn't dry. Alder Station seems to take care of that. Or maybe it's feeding me something else. Today, I found the door. It was behind the boiler room, at the end of a hallway that didn't exist on the floor plan I'd drawn just yesterday. The paint on the walls there was older, darker, textured like cracked skin. A single hanging light swayed on its own, creaking above the doorframe like a metronome in a fever dream. The door was rusted. No handle. just a handprint seared into the metal like it had been burned in from the inside. Above it, someone had scratched a word into the wall, Origin. Opening the door, when I pressed my hand to the print, the metal warmed beneath my skin. Not hot, alive. It pulsed. I don't know how long I stood there. Could have been minutes. Could have been hours. My mind wandered in loops, snippets of memory I'm not sure are mine. A woman's voice humming an unfamiliar tune. A child asking why the sky breathes. The sound of teeth grinding behind drywall. And then the door simply opened. No creak, no groan, just a soft, wet sigh of air rushing out, like the station exhaled. Inside was not a room, not exactly. Inside room 0, it looked like the broadcast chamber, but twisted, warped in proportions. Corners that folded inward like origami. Screens blinking in languages I couldn't read. Everything bathed in a dull amber glow, like the final hour of sunlight, except this light had no warmth. At the center of the room was a chair, bolted to the ground with IV lines snaking up its frame. Above it, suspended from the ceiling like a marionette's crossbeam, was a cluster of cameras. No lenses, just eyes, organic, wet, blinking in unison. The moment I stepped inside, the door sealed behind me, and the cameras focused. The playback, the screens flickered, at first static, then flickering images, me, days ago, walking the station, recording logs, but then footage of things I don't remember, footage that hasn't happened yet. Camilla was there. I saw her, emaciated, eyes wide and black, speaking into a receiver in a language that turned my stomach. She looked up at the camera. She said, "Noah's coming, again, again, again." Each time her voice shifted, grew deeper, hungrier. And then I saw myself again, not now, not past, future, skin peeled back like paper, wires threaded through my jaw. My hands were drawing something in blood on the wall, something circular, a wheel of eyes. And the moment I finished, I looked directly into the lens and whispered, "We had to make space for the others. We had to hollow ourselves out first. The door doesn't open anymore. I'm still in room 0. The door hasn't reappeared, but I found a microphone, older than the ones I've used before, labeled Unit 0. It's connected to something beneath the floor. I can hear it humming, waiting. I've started speaking again because maybe that's what it wants. Maybe that's all Alder Station is, a mouth, and I am its teeth, telling the story forward, one day at a time. If you're listening, this is not the beginning. This is the place the beginning grew teeth. This is where the signal learned how to breathe. Tomorrow I dig. Day 6, the root chamber. Do you know the sound the earth makes when it's still alive? It's not wind, not tremors, it's breathing. And it's louder down here. Field notes, October 18 time, unknown. No longer correlates with the station's clocks. Room 0 disappeared when I woke. In its place, a hallway lined with exposed earth, as though the station had been dug into something that was already buried here. The floor is soft, damp. The walls pulse gently, not visibly, but through the soles of my feet. I think I've descended maybe 4 levels now, each set of stairs narrower, ceilings lower. The lights shift from amber to green, and then to a deep, bioluminescent blue that doesn't seem to come from fixtures, but from the walls themselves. Like moss or veins, Camilla's voice, the intercoms are speaking again, not static this time, a voice, her voice. CAMILA, over intercom. The hollowing must be willing, Noah. They'll reject you if it isn't. You'll collapse inward. You'll fracture wrong. It repeats on a loop, but never identically. Her inflection changes. Sometimes it's her. Other times it isn't. Once, she laughed at the end. It was the laugh I remembered from our old studio apartment, the one when she'd beat me at chess. That laugh should not exist here. Nothing joyful belongs in Alder. The root chamber, I found the lowest room by accident or instinct. The floor gave out. I didn't fall far, but far enough to land in something soft, squirming. Not water, not mud, something living. The root chamber is exactly that, a cavern beneath the station. Organic, wet, filled with a central structure that resembles both a heart and a speaker array. Twisting tendrils, roots pulse from it and vanish into the ceiling above, feeding Alder Station with whatever this is. The hum here vibrates in my teeth. It sounds like machinery and whispering and chanting layered into a single note that never ends. At the base of the root heart is a console. Old tech, early Cold War vintage, covered in fungus and what might be skin. The screen blinked once and displayed a single line. "Welcome back, Operator Zero." I don't remember ever being called that, but I didn't question it. I sat down. The transmission, it made me speak again. Not like before, not narrating, transmitting, as if something needed to speak through me. My hands moved on their own. I typed phrases I didn't recognize. My mouth formed words in dialects I couldn't trace. At one point, I felt Camilla's presence behind me. I turned, expecting her to be there. There was no one, just a reflection of myself barely visible in the sheen of the screen, except my reflection smiled before I did, and then whispered, "This is how we see the others. Through voice, through story, through signal. You're the mouth now, Noah. Keep talking." Last notes before sleep. I don't remember climbing back up. I'm in the broadcast booth again, but it's different now. The ceiling's higher. There are more wires. My mic smells like soil. And there's moss growing around the on-air light. I see Camilla's photo on the wall, the one I never brought with me. She's smiling in it, but something's wrong with her eyes. They've gone dark, not evil, not empty, endless. I think I'm remembering too much. Or maybe Alder Station is giving me memories to keep me docile. Either way, tomorrow I go deeper. And if I don't come back, let the broadcast run. Let them hear what lives in the static. Day 7, the voice beneath. Noah whispers. If you're still listening, then so are they. Field notes, October 19 time. Irrelevant. Time belongs to the surface. I've stopped trying to rationalize Alder Station. Stopped counting the steps, mapping the turns, naming the rooms. There's no geometry here, no Euclidean rules. This place is a pulse, a throat. I understand that now. It's not a facility. It never was. It was grown, not built. Cultivated over decades to draw people like me into its root system, into its language. It doesn't want to be studied. It wants to be told. That's why it needed a broadcaster. The transducer room, I found it beneath the root chamber, a second basement that should have been geologically impossible. It was colder, vast, circular, walls covered in coils and vein-like cabling. At the center, suspended in the air by nothing I could see, was the transducer. Not a machine, not a person, a hybrid, a fusion. At first, I thought it was a tree carved into a throne. Then I saw fingers woven into its branches, lips stretched over bark, an eye that blinked sideways. I don't think it used to be Camilla, but it had parts of her. I recognized the freckles on its left cheek. It didn't speak. Not in words, it thought into me. The threshold is a membrane. You punctured it. Now your voice is inside. You are the relay. Your grief is our frequency. I cried then, not because I was afraid, because I understood. The integration, when I touched the transducer, I didn't feel skin or wood. I felt home, a knowing, a pattern that fit my thoughts like a missing rhythm. I saw flashes of other stations, just like Alder, across the world, buried under forests, oceans, deserts, each one sleeping, each one listening, waiting for a voice to wake them. Camilla wasn't lost. She was promoted, merged with the system, her sorrow a fuel, her memories a map. That's what Alder does. It consumes trauma and broadcasts it, not to warn, to spread. The final signal, I returned to the broadcast room for the last time. It had changed again, now a cathedral of cable and wire, microphones hanging like vines, speakers blooming from the walls like fungi. I sat, pressed record, and I spoke. This is Noah Bryers. If you're hearing this, it means the frequency has reached you. Alder Station is no longer dormant. I am its mouth, its story. You cannot shut us off. You cannot tune us out. We are in the dead air now. We speak through the static. We travel by signal. We live in the places your ears forget. We are the transmission beneath every silence. And soon you will speak us too. Epilogue. Internal memo, Department of Paracognitive Surveillance. Subject. Unauthorized broadcast, 107.3 FM, regional interference. Date, October 22. Summary. A live transmission was detected in violation of dormant zone containment protocol. Origin, Alder Station. Signal content contained level 3 paraphonic encoding. Estimated reach 72,000 listeners before termination. Symptoms reported within affected population: audio hallucinations, compulsive vocal mimicry, inexplicable grief responses directive. Station remains quarantined. Signal relay nodes located in 5 additional regions. Containment compromised. Broadcast ongoing. You made it back for now, but the things in the dark never truly leave, do they? They watch, they wait, and perhaps they remember you now too. If you want to hear more, if you dare to listen again, step back into the shadows. Like the video, subscribe, but know this: some doors once opened do not close so easily.